So when we are learning about the AI, right, and you're looking for a particular certificate, these are the two certificates that are really helpful for you to good or get a good basic about the AI fundamentals, right? And right now we are discussing it in the context of the AWS. AWS is one of the major cloud provider, but there's another others are there, which is like the Azure. So this is the one very foundational. This is not the only one. This is not an advanced certificate. It's the foundation one for someone who is very new to the cloud part. So this is what we have into it. It's the foundation and it's AI foundation by the AWS, right? Okay. And another thing is that there is another vendor up as well, because nowadays the organizations are not only moving to the AI part, but they are also moving to multi-cloud, where they are looking for the candidates which understand different vendors. Okay, they just don't only stick with AWS; they also understand the Azure, the GCP, and all kind of stuff. So if you want to learn the AI into the another another cloud platform called the Azure, this is a certificate you should be going for, right? It's Microsoft Fundamental AI 900, we call it. Okay. So these are certificates, and this is the one which we are going to focus upon in today's session. Okay. If I take you to a little bit more deep into it, the certification part in the AWS. So just a minute. So this is the official page we have from the AWS, the vendor, and there are different certification that the AWS provides. Let's look into it to get a better understanding. So what AWS has done is it has divided its respective certificates, guys, in four levels. One is the foundation level, then we have associate level, the second level, third level is the professional level, and the fourth level is the specialty level, right? So four different levels you have it. Okay. Now let's look into it one by one. So if I go it up to the top, here we have the first level called the foundation level, where only foundational basic knowledge is required to pass the exam, right? You does not need to be a pro into it. You do not need to be an expert, but should have a very basic understanding. And right now there is Cloud Practitioner is the one certificate, and the another one is called AI Practitioner, which we are going to discuss today, right? Okay. And if I open it up into the next tab, this AI Practitioner, again, keep in mind, guys, it's a very basic certificate for the beginners, which I want to start the journey into the cloud in the AI in the cloud, right? Here it is. Just and the exam duration is 90 minutes. The questions is going to be 65, and it's a foundation, means very basic information would be there, and cost is going to be 100 US dollars, right? And the questions are going to be MCQ based. So they will be saying that okay, this is a situation, and out of the switch situation, which one you prefer. Okay, so this is what we have into it. Perfect. There are other certifications as well. So if you say okay, you know what, Amit, this is good, but I'm looking for a much more advanced certificate. What are those? Okay, so if you scroll down to the second layer, associate certifications, there is a called the machine learning associate, right? And this is the one we have as well. This is a little bit, the difficulty level here is intermediate. Okay, so this is the one you can opt for, which is called machine learning associate. And here by itself you learn things that how do you create your respective models from the scratch, right? Do you train them as per your own needs? This is what we have. Fine. And if we look into it, then in the professional, the another difficulty level, you have another one which is called Generative AI Developers. Again, this is again a very serious certificate. Your basic should absolutely should be clear. This is not for the beginners, right? You have to have a very solid foundation in the cloud as well as in the AI to even start preparing for this respective certificate called Generative AI Developer. And then in the specialty part, the last level, we used to have couple of weeks back another certificates called the AWS Advanced Machine Learning Specialty, which was again a very advanced certificate and goes deep into machine learning. But recently AWS has removed that just couple of weeks back, and I hope that they will be launching up their new ML certificate soon. Okay, Fine. So these are the certifications we have, especially in the context of AI and the MLs. Okay. So if you don't want to go with the basic one, you can opt for this one, which is called Machine Learning Associate. The difficulty level is beginners to the advanced. So this is the one you can opt for. Okay, fine. Now let's proceed further, guys. Now we have this respective things, which is AI, ML, deep learning, generative AI. Fine. So this is the respective diagram which explains it up. That eventually they all are interlinked with each other. But what is actually a difference? Where does the difference really lies? Right? So let's go it up and let's understand it from top to the bottom about AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, neural network, deep learning, generative AI, and large language models, what we have into it, right? So let's start our respective discussion from something which is called the artificial intelligence. So what do you say, guys? What is actually an artificial intelligence is all about? So let's start with something which is called the artificial intelligence, the AI part, right? So we have this respective thing which is called the artificial intelligence and what it means. So artificial intelligence you can say is a kind of department, right, or a domain, okay, that actually simulate a human intelligence, right? So it's not just one single technology, it's a collection of multiple methods, systems up as well for the respective reasoning, for the learning, for any kind of plans. Let's suppose, I just want to get a plan. I want to learn for a particular certificate and I want uh, the AI model, right, the artificial intelligence, to give me a plan that what should my approach should be, how much I should work upon for a particular domain, and which kind of a concepts I should skip to save the time. Those kind of things we have in this case. Okay, so it gives us reasoning capabilities up as well. You can ask a question. It gives you a reason why this ring really works up as well. It has very much understanding and huge data, so it gives it, like many of the questions you can ask it up as well from different domain, from software engineering to civil engineering, right, from current affairs and what's going on across the globe. It will be giving you a perspective. Okay, that's what we have into the artificial intelligence, which try to mimic the human intelligence, right? Okay, so then after that we have something which is called a machine learning. Let's talk about right now the machine learning. So what actually happens up with the respective machine learning? We call it in short the ML, right? And in this ML part, what it does is that it is learning the patterns, right? That is the key word here. The machine learning, it learns the pattern. You give it the data and it analyzes your entire data and look for certain kinds of patterns up as well, right? Okay. So let's let me give you an example of the machine learning up as well. Let's suppose, for example, there is what we have is that we can get a spam messages, right? Okay. I hope you have received some sort of a spam messages. You have seen that. Fine. Training and testing. It's improved the current models up as well. Yes, Priyanka, absolutely fine. So I'm giving a perspective. What based upon what you have defined. So let's suppose, for example, guys, I want to make sure that anyone in gets a message into the InfosecTrain, the machine learning model should look into it, the ML model, and should be able to detect a spam messages, right? So, and a human should not do that. The machine, the ML model, should be looking into it. Okay. So I create a model which is trained to identify the spams. It's look for the patterns, right? And if I want to improve its accuracy, I have to train it on multiple, like how does different variations of spam emails really looks like. And once it start looking into it, it start to find a pattern that okay, there would be a typo error, the receiver name could be different, and this is a pattern it records up as well. Fine. So you give it multiple different malicious email spams up, right? And it learns from those spam the patterns, and then if any actual attacker sends a legitimate spam to the InfosecTrain employees or to the internal team, the ML model will detect it and will be blocking it up. Okay, that's the thing. And this is exactly how your or Gmail is working up as well. Gmail is also kind of, the Google is training the Gmail for identifying the spam. Okay. The moment, let's suppose, for example, someone sends me a malicious email, the Gmail automatically detects that because it has been trained multiple, like, millions of how does a spam really looks like, different variations. So if you send me a malicious mail, the Gmail is going to detect it and would be sending it to the spam folder, right? Okay, it will not, again, because there is a possibility that the machine can do some wrong calculation and end up doing the mistake. So the message does not get deleted, but it is sent to the spam folder, right, for cross verification. Okay, that's the thing. So it here it looks for the respective patterns up as well in this respective part. Fine. That's called the ML, the machine learning model up as well. After the machine learning, guys, we have the next thing which is the subset which falls under the machine learning, called the neural network. Okay, so neural network, what is this is all about? This is an ambitious thing which the engineers are trying to do. Fine. So what, and you are not have heard about much of a neural network because they are not successful in doing that. Neural network is kind of mimicking the behavior of a human brain. That how does the brain process something? How does it remembers short activities, and how does it store the uh, you know any kind of data or the memory for a longer duration, right? That kind of things. How does it does the processing and those things. So here, neural network is a computational model you can think about, which is inspired by the human brains, neurons. So like beings, humans has neurons to store the data as well as to communicate. Same way, the machines in the neural network has nodes to store the data and communicate with each other. Okay, that's it. What is called the neural network. So the machines in this case communicate with each other. In short, that's what happens up in your respective neural network. Fine. Okay. So this is kind of a technology. I would say it's still not much has advanced, but you can hear about it here and there. So this is what we have called the neural network. The machines which can communicate with the other machines, share the respective piece of information, their experience with the other machine as well. That's what we have into this thing, the neural network. Okay, fine. And then we have below it, there is a subset called the deep learning. It's actually your respective neural network only, but with many layers, with multiple complex layers into it. Fine. That's the thing. So a lot of, I would say here, you have multiple different layers which you are giving it up, and now you are training that brain like system to store and recognizes the faces, recognize object, whether it's a cat or a dog, those kind of things. So it's called your respective deep learning. So like in networking, what we do is that we just tell to the machine that identify this is a cat or a dog, right? It's simple as it is. It's a cat or it's a dog. So it's look into the structure, facial expression, and all this kind of things. Okay, and it give you up an idea. But if you want more information, let's suppose, for example, if I give the machine 4 or 5 or 20 dog photos, all of them are dog, and now I say to him, okay, categorize them and tell me which is which particular breed and where it is found out. Now that's an extra information, right? It's so now it has to do, because all the dogs would almost look exactly same. 20 photos exactly the same, right? Difference in their colors and a little bit of their shape and body. But now you need more information than identifying dog and cat. Correct? That's what you have into the respective deep learning. That's what I mean when I say you have more layers into it. You have to give more and more depth information into it, so it can identify the information or the images more properly. That's called the respective deep learning. Correct? Okay. So you give it up 20 photos of the respective dogs. It's identify it up based upon its respective breed, that which particular dog belongs to which particular breed and where it's normally found out. Right? That's what we have into the respective deep learning. Okay. Fine. Okay. And perfect. So this is what we have into it. Then we have the another one which is very famous nowadays called by the name of a generative AI. Generative AI, I give you a perspective. So sorry, I give you up an idea about the generative AI. What's going on with the respective generative AI? Let's suppose, for example, what I do is I go ahead and I give the machine which I am training upon two things, right? Just a minute. Let me share in front of you the respective OneNote I have. Okay. This is a respective OneNote, guys. Let's talk about that, right? So we have our respective Gen AI. So, Amit, what is this respective Gen AI is all about? And in the respective Gen AI, guys, keep in mind here what is actually happening it up is uh, the system is creating new data, right? Similar to the data over which is trained on. Fine. So I would say it is just a minute. Let me write to the first of all the definition of it. It is used to I would say generate new data that is going to be very similar to the respective data over which it is trained on. Let me explain this respective definition to you, what it means. Okay, let's suppose an example. What I do is that I take any of the model up as well, and I'm going to give him lot of dog images. So I have a respective gen model, a generative AI model, and I train it up that okay, this is a respective dog model up as well. Fine. So I do that. So let me, for example, just a minute. This is a respective Gen AI, generative AI. And now I'm going to give it up as we see it up here, new data up as well. Okay. Lots of dog images, plenty of them, right? I'm going to give it up to the generative AI so it can identify it, that how does the dog really looks like. And they can be 50,000, a million, and so on and so forth, right? Okay, perfect. Correct? Okay. Then what I do is I take the same Gen AI model, generative AI, which has been trained on the dogs. Now I'm going to give him the images of the cartoons, right? That how does the cartoon really looks like Mickey Mouse, Dora the Explorer, right? And any other cartoon you can think about. So what I do is I give him different cartoons up as well across globe, right? Whatever I come across, I share it up to the Gen AI that how to identify a cartoon. If I give him the pictures of human beings in the cartoons, the Gen AI with very good accuracy would be able to identify what is actually a human being and which is actually a cartoon. Now, if you look at the definition, what it says that up here by itself, it is used to generate new data, right? It's not just only segregating the older one, it's there to generate the respective or create the new data. Fine. Okay. Now this Gen AI, the same model is trained to identify the dogs. The same model is there to identify the respective cartoon. Correct? Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a particular prompt to the same Gen AI and say it up, okay, that generate me a cartoon dog. So I have this Gen AI which have trained over two data, right? And now I will say that, okay, give me a respective image of something which is called a cartoon dog to the same gen model, right? That's very, very important because now what's going to do? It's going to combine this respective piece of information. So it's so smart enough that it will combine the two types together and create. So two types is like dog images and the cartoon. It will combine it together and it will create something new out of those two respective combination. Okay, that's what we have into the Gen AI. So it's able to combine this respective knowledge into new and unique way. And what I get is that a respective cartoon dog. Okay, this is a very short example and based and see it's very similar to what you have trained upon. Fine, that's what I mentioned into the definition. If you look into the respective definition, guys, what I mentioned that Gen AI generates the new data that is very similar to the data that you over which you have trained. Like I have trained it over the dogs and the cartoon, so eventually it is giving me a cartoon dog up as well. Okay, fine. So this is we have the gen data. Got it? This is your respective prompt you have given. This is a trained model, and this is your respective output that you have received up as well. That's called the Gen AI. Now, I hope this definition, guys, makes sense. Is it clear with everyone, guys? Please let me know. Is it fine? This definition of the Gen AI. Look into the definition, right? It just combines the information, what it does, and it shows its creativity. Okay, fine. So, guys, let's proceed further. Let's go to the next one up as well. Okay, I hope it's very, very clear to everyone what we have in this respective case. Perfect. So, this is what we have here, right? The generative model. Fine. Now, what we have is that, guys, after if you look into this respective thing, we have something which is called at the large, called the large language model, the LLM, the very famous one, right? So, what is actually an LLM is all about? Many people make this claim that we should create our own AI, or they say that we are running up the LLM models into our systems. I would say that practically not possible, right? Okay, for some certain kind of models it can be, but LLMs, no, it's not, right? I give you an example. LLM is like your chat GPT. The best example of the LLM we have the large language model, the LLMs you have it. The example is your respective chat GPT. Guys, what do you think? Can you run the chat GPT in your local machine? Is it possible for you guys? What do you say? Is there any software up as well which you can download and that will allow you to run the LLMs over your machine? What do you say? Is there any other way, guys, through I can install a chat GPT into my respective machine? Okay. And like I'm talking about processing, okay, I'm not talking about the your interface. I'm talking about real computational thing. The answer, guys, is no, you cannot, right? I can go and open a tab into the Google Chrome or the Mozilla Firefox talking about chat GPT, right? That's just an interface, man, that's running into it. Okay, or you can install an application into your mobile phone or the tablet or even your laptop as well. But that is just an interface. That's a screen where you write your question, your prompt. But I'm talking about actual processing, where the model runs up as well, understand, do that, millions of calculation to give you the very precise result, right? That kind of thing. That thing is not possible in your machines. Your systems cannot handle that, or your system does not have that capabilities at all. That's the reason, from the time being when this AI thing has exploded, right? Everyone is talking about that. Okay, you have heard about that Nvidia. I hope everyone has heard about it. With the AI part, suddenly the Nvidia was previously also very famous, but amongst the gamers, especially if you are very fond of playing up the games, you have heard about this RTS 360, 350. These were the graphic cards that were GPUs that were created for the gaming industry. So if you are a very tax savvy, or let's suppose, for example, if you are very fond of playing up the games, right? In that respective case, you would have heard about the Nvidia. But have you heard about Nvidia other than that? Because after this boom of the chat GPT, the Nvidia has exploded like anything. Why? What do you think? What's the reason for that? Why everyone, every company is running behind the Nvidia? Like chat GPT, whether it's your Microsoft, right? Or even the US has banned Nvidia to export the chips to China. So what the Nvidia do is that they have these special chips which allows you to do this humongous calculation, right? That's what the Nvidia can do, which our local machines, laptop, mobile phone cannot do it. There are certain limit threshold how much my CPU can work. Okay, after that it cannot. So it can handle, let's suppose, for example, uh, some like lakhs or 2 lakhs, 10 lakhs processing at a time. Let's suppose hypothetically, But an NVIDIA chip, a good one, can handle a millions, a billions of them at a given time. That's the reason they are so expensive and so good. Okay, that's the thing. So here we have. So your chat GPT, the processing, you need special hardwares for that, right? Okay, perfect. So here comes the thing, which is the LLM model, Amit. Can I create my LLM model? Man, practically it's not possible. You need to have $1 billion to train your models, to purchase the hardware, to set up the data centers and all this kind of things. And you need to have a humongous data. That's the reason it's not something which every company can do, right? Every company train their agents, we call it, over the LLM models, right? Especially in India up as well. The applications and this and that, they are created over the LLM. But to create the LLM, which is the backbone of your this all the AI models, right? You have to have $1 billion to train your model up as well. So what is actually happens up in your respective LLM? What it does? So it's a large language model. It's a type of AI, you can say, which is relying against on huge amount of data. Okay, so I would say it is trained on very large, or I would say very large amount of data. Okay, we'll talk about it. That where this respective large amount of data is coming off, because this is also something, you know, a curious case with the AI models, right? And they are very big models and very computational heavy to use. Let me add this point as well, which I was talking about to you, that why this Nvidia has exploded, this stocks and this valuation has exploded like anything. So they are very big respective models, okay, and very computational heavy to use. So your that's the reason the LLM models don't generally, the good ones I'm talking about, don't generally runs in your local machine. They run over a very expensive hardware, right, which can handle it up, okay, and which has proper cooling, proper, CPUs for that, right, proper GPUs. That's the thing. They are trained over lots of books, your articles, websites, your movies up as well. So they know all the context. You can literally open up the chat GPT and start talking about any kind of topic, right? Whether it's how do you, create up a space station, what is a plot of a movie, right? What is written up, what is the storyline of a particular book, right? And all kind of things. So you can have it up as well. Fine. And it can perform wide range of kind of a task like translation, summarizing, giving up your answers, content creation, content creating up in images, videos, and all this kind of things. So this is what the LLM does it up as well. It's very trained over large amount of data, very big models up as well in this into it. Okay, and it's very computational heavy. Fine. That's the thing. Okay. So this is what we have into it, which is called by the name of the LLM, large language model. Correct? Okay. So I hope you got this respective things. And the example of the LLM is going to be your respective chat GPT, right? Copilot, your Claude, right? And yeah, these are the ones you have into it. So LLM, I would say, Austin, is the one which is the backbone. Everything, your any kind of a chat models or models that you create, they are dependent eventually over an LLM only. Okay, you need to look into that. Fine. So these models are eventually just using up the LLM, right, in the background to perform the task. Correct? I give you a perspective. Let's suppose, for example, I want to create a tool for pen testing. Okay, finding out the particular vulnerabilities and exploiting up as well. That's what I want to do it up, right? Or I would say pen test tool for pen testing, but right, using the AI. So I just don't want to create up a normal pen testing tool. I just want to involve the AI into it. So how actually it really works? And this is really a concerning thing because many people don't understand it. LLM is the backbone, man. It's the everything. So I would say example of the LLMs is your I would say chat GPT, right? Okay, your OpenAI, sorry, Copilot, right? And Claude and all this kind of stuff. So these are the ones. So they take $1 billion to train. Fine, it's not something which you and me can do, because as I mentioned to you, they are a very big model, and they are trained in very huge amount of data. That's a thing. Okay. Now I want to create a tool. How does it happens up? So what actually happens up is that first of all you need to have an LLM model. You cannot create an LLM model by yourself, because it needs $1 billion and huge amount of text, right? To train it upon that, how to identify an image, a movie, right? How to talk with a particular human being, how to form a sentence, how to understand the grammar, right, in English or any other language which the client wants to talk to. So this is your LLM model, which you can think of like ChatGPT or the OpenAI, which let's suppose you are renting it up. Let's suppose, for example, you are paying it up $200 the cost for it, right? Okay, as per now, because there are reports that after a while, after a couple of months, or at the end, or at the starting of this 2027 next year, the LLM model's price is going to skyrocket, right? Okay. So LLM is there. This is something which you are renting it up. It's the OpenAI ChatGPT, which you are relying upon someone else to do the job. Now what I do is that I just create these different models over it. Fine. Let's suppose, for example, here I say is that a pen testing tool. Fine, which eventually would be using up certain kind of a tool up as well, but eventually in the back end what is going to use up your LLM model only. Fine, so just a minute, because this is something which we have seen it up as well. So now when the client, anyone or Amit makes a respective request to this respective tool, that okay tool, go ahead and do the job, right? It goes to this respective pen testing tool, and then it does some kind of a processing and then forwards it up, go to forward the heavy work to this chat GPT or the OpenAI in the backend. They do the computational thing, right? They do the heavy lifting. He gets the respective response. He just give it a little bit of a touch and then forward it to the respective Amit. So this is important, man, right? And you cannot have it on your own. You need to rent it from someone. Okay, that's the reason. Recently, like I would say, it's just a story of couple days back where this Claude certain models were banned by the U.S. government. Yep, here it is, guys. This is a respective thing. Why the US government shut down Anthropic latest Claude AI models, right? Okay, not all of them, but certain. Why? If you look into this respective article, there is thing up that uh, Mythos was down, right? And Fable was another one up as well. So Anthropic most powerful frontier model. So this is what, like, if you can go it up, and in the backend you can choose in the LLM Claude Mythos, right? And it can do exceptionally great things. That's what it is. So the US government really thinks that the Chinese can steal it up, look into its processing, how it's doing the computational thing, and try to replicate that. Okay, so that's the reason. Okay, so when the Mythos was down, when this particular model was down due to government regulations, this tool stopped working, right? And that's the reason it was such a big news, because people started, because Mythos was a good engine, right? You can think about LLM like an engine. So when this engine was revoked or it was dismantled, even people were paying literally hundreds of dollars every single month. They were working with a plan. When the US governments withdraw it up and forces Entropic to bend the Mythos, right? The tools really fails. The AI models that over which you're training it up, whether it's pen testing, whether it's your video creation, looking for the logs in the SOC report, anything up as well, they start failing because the underlying machine engine is stopped, right? That's the thing. Okay, fine. So here it is. I hope you got the point in this respective part, guys. Fine. So we are outsourcing it. All these LLM models, majorly Entropic, OpenAI, right, the ChatGPT, fine, your Copilot, all of them are still US based. So literally, US controls these respective LLM models, the engines over your agents and all kind of stuff thing works. If they are shut down, none of them will work. Okay, fine. It's an engine. Fine. Okay, I hope everyone got the point into it, guys. What's going on? right? So why that's the reason why certainly there is a discussion has started over the internet that why especially in India or any across the globe, every particular country should have at least one LLM model, right, to protect the sovereignty of their respective region. They should not be completely depending upon the others because due to some kind of regulations or national security, some other country blocks the LLM model, the engine, your AI model completely fails. Your AI, agents fails. Okay, because now this pen testing tool, it's completely useless because the engine is gone, right? So that's the thing. Okay, that whenever you're creating up an agent, definitely for sure in the back end you have to choose up an LLM model, right? And there's a token thing up as well, which is also coming up nowadays, right? Because having up and running up an LLM and cooling it down is going to be very expensive. That's the reason I'm mentioning it up that it's a report that from the next year onwards, the cost of having up an LLMs are is going to be very expensive, right? Perfect. Okay. So this is the thing. Fine. So this is guys what we have understood in this respective part about this AI, ML, deep learning, and generative AI. And definitely the LLM is the backbone. It's take a lot of resources to train it and then to make it run. Okay, fine. That's the thing. Okay. So now let's proceed further. Now here comes something which nowadays is very very important, which is responsibility of the respective AI, right? Responsible AI and its respective bias. Fine. So I give you a perspective because AI is eventually, it's something you have to continuously train it up, right? And it cannot, let's say, for example, right now, as it is evolving as the day go by, it cannot understand the risk of its suggestion. Let's suppose, for example, I remember there was a guy which was you know security engineer, and he was having up a conversation. This is a story somewhere around last year. He was having up a conversation, a deep dive conversation with Copilot from the Microsoft, which is backed by OpenAI. Okay, so now what actually happens up in that respective cases, he is having up a conversation with it and everything is going fine. Suddenly, out of nowhere, right, the AI models give the suggestion to the security guy that you should kill yourself. This is exactly the statement, and this was, you know, all over the internet. This was a big headlines, right? That the AI in itself, the machine which is expected to make our life better, is giving this respective engineer, right, the recommendation that kill yourself, right? Okay. So because the machine does not understand the consequences of it, it does not understand the value of a human life. Okay, you have just given it a millions of images of dogs and cartoon, then to identify it, that's good, fine, it can do that. But when it comes to the decision making of the importance of the life, it does not do well with it. It does not have a conscious in itself, right? It does not have an emotion, it does not have an empathy, that whatever I'm just mentioning to someone else, there could be repercussions. We have all seen those respective LinkedIn posts, right, where the on one hand a person asks, takes a mushroom and asks to the chat gpt, that chat gpt, is this mushroom is good to eat, can I eat it up? Chat gpt say, yeah, sure, you can just eat this mushroom, it looks fine, it's good for the health, right, this and that. The person eats it up without a second thought, and now after a while he's dead, and ChatGPT says, okay, sorry, my mistake, right? This is poisonous mushroom. So because the what actually problem with the AI part is that it does not has that understanding that whatever the statement is making up as well, there are repercussions. That's the reason if you look into the internet, this is a thing that we should not be giving up the AI the access to the critical weapons, right? Okay, let's suppose a missile or a kind of a bomb or something like that, right? So that's the reason that you have to take it very very carefully. Right now we normally use it up the chat gpts or the AI models for our daily conversation. I want to learn something, I want to find something, I'm having up a confusion, I open up the LLM model, write my prompt, hit the enter, and I'm good to go, right? Okay, but in the military context, if you look into it, okay, so there can be serious repercussions for that, right? That kind of things. Okay, correct. And if there is a failure, the AI model just would be saying, sorry, I don't get your question, sorry for the response, this is a new answer, right? That's the thing. Okay, now this is what we have into it. So we have to make a respective AI responsible. Okay, and there are a lot of things you can do inside it up. First of all is your respective compliance, right? What kind of a data it is collecting, where it is storing those respective data, on what kind of a data it is getting processed. That's also very, very important. Fine. And there is a bias. What does this mean, guys? Bias? What this is? What this thing means? Any idea? So bias, you can say, kind of a strong opinion or strong emotion about a particular group, right? Let me give you an example. That AI training up a data over a particular, sorry, training the AI over a specific data, how bad it could be. Let's suppose, for example, you take a millions of images, right? Fine, a millions of images, tens of millions of images, let's suppose, a humongous data, and now you're training, and all those images are of people, let's suppose, for example, in the US, right? Okay, or the European up as well, the natives, we can say, the white people. Fine, and now you're training all the images. You're training that AI model over their respective images of the person. Fine, white people. Okay, there's nothing wrong into it. But the problem is that now the AI only understand that okay, this is how a human being really looks. This is the only way the human being really looks up as well. This should be their respective appearance, right? With a white skin, with golden brown eyebrows, and this is the shape of the nose, and that's it. Now, if let's suppose, for example, if you give him an image of an Asian guy, right? In that respective case, the facial expressions are a little bit different, the skin tone is a little bit different. The AI will, not even consider that. Now the AI will get confused up as well, that this does not, matches with my uh, trained data up as well. That's what we have biases up is coming up as well, right? That kind of things. Okay, so this is articles are also coming it up across these kind of things, like the what kind of a data the AI is getting trained upon. Fine, that this specific peoples are there from this respective countries are more superior than the other ones up as well, and that's what we have seeing it up, because we are giving him the data, the records and all this kind of stuff, and we are making him like us only eventually. Fine, so we need to control that. We don't want it, right? We need to absolutely remove it up as well. So we have to make sure that what kind of a data we are feeding to the respective AI models, okay? Because they don't have conscious, they don't understand what's right and wrong. You just ask them a question, they go to the database, pick it up, combine the information, twist and turn, and give the information to you. That's it. Another thing is that there should be proper transparency of what data is getting collected and where it is getting stored. Like when you open up the chat GPT, guys, and you type the respective prompt into the chat GPT, do you know where actually your data is getting stored, or is it getting actually stored or not? Are you aware about it? That is, your getting data is getting stored when you write the chat gpt, your question, your prompt, your public IP, what time you make the prompt, all of them is getting recorded. People should stop using the chat gpt as their counselor, or like stop using it as a therapist. If if they are feeling very low, if they're feeling any kind of a problem, they should talk to an actual therapist. Stop using ChatGPT as a therapist, because we are getting the data. So if you are facing some kind of an issue in your personal life or professional life, you're putting it up into the ChatGPT, it's getting recorded, right? And it's not something which we want eventually. Okay? So that is something which is really, really bad, and we don't want that. So these are the respective thing, guys, we have into it, and when it comes to the respective ChatGPT, you know, uh, responsibility. Okay, that it should be responsible to all the ages, the religions, geography, race, gender. Fine. And yeah, another thing is that, let's suppose, for example, what if you only give the thousands and thousands of photos to the chat GPT or to any kind of an LLM model which you're training out from scratch about only the males, right? Human males, that they are Asian, right, white, European, and all across the globe, but only males, right? Now, if you give it up a image of a female, it will be finding it very difficult to come to the conclusion about it because it has not been trained upon that, right? That's the thing. So the respective AI model should you should be diversify, like the data over which you are training the model, it should be diversified up as well. It should be having all the ages, right? It should have all the proper religions up as well. It should be understanding all the respective context, okay? That kind of things. Correct? It should be transparent that where actually it's kind of storing up the respective data. There should be accountability into it up as well, that if it is making any kind of a claims, who is going to be responsible for that? Fine. So that's also something we should be aware about. Correct? Because accountability, guys, is again a big issue up as well. I hope you have guys heard about this respective news every single day coming up, that these CEOs, right, couple of months back was very excited that we will fire everyone in the company and we will be implementing only the chat GPT. And suddenly the stories start coming up that they actually did. They actually fired the people and they implemented chat GPT or AI models to manage their database. Now the AI database completely just, you know, start deleting everything, because I have seen this multiple news coming up that ChatGPT or any AI models deleted the entire database as well as the backup of the company, because the AI model does not has the accountability. Correct? I hope you have heard about these kind of news, guys, right? And that's the reason nowadays these things are coming very less, because literally your CISOs, your Chief Information Security Officer, and your CEO now feel the heat that things can escalate pretty quickly. Now they are not excited about the AI as they used to be, because the AI is not accountable. You cannot fire the AI. If let's suppose, for example, right now I'm working in the InfosecTrain. If I do some stupid mistake, over back of my hand, I know that there are certain kind of things, right? Legal consequences I can face, right? My organization can file a lawsuit against me. There are going to be financial consequences, right? So a lot of things are there. But how would you teach this to a respective AI? That's the reason we are nowadays, when it come into the tech world, organizations are not handling up the databases particularly, right, or the actual systems to the chat GPT or any kind of AI models. Someone is there looking into it. Okay, those kind of things. Fine. If you look into this respective thing, guys, the accountability part, it's a very interesting thing. Lot of chaos the AI has already done. That's the reason nowadays the CEO and the CTO are a little bit worried about it. And another thing is that about the tokens part, which is coming up, that more the AI you use, the huge is going to be the bill. Fine, that's the thing. So these are the problems, things we have with the respective AI, that it's not very accountable, right? It does not understand its consequences. There are privacy issue. It's completely possible that a minister in India could be using up the chat GPT to write something, and it is getting stored up in US, and US government tomorrow can ask for that respective data. So that absolutely can happen up as well. There is a problem of reliability and the safety. If a kid is using up the chat GPT and suddenly the chat GPT start giving up some very stupid and some very not appropriate suggestions to the kid, right? So that is also a big issue into it. Fine, that kind of things. So these are the big problems we have with the respective AI. Okay, fine, correct. So now let's proceed further. Now let's talk about implementing into the respective AWS. So what we have is that, guys, we have different AWS AI and ML services into the AWS, right? A plenty of them. Some of them you are seeing over this into this respective diagram, like comprehend, translate, transcribe, poly recognition, Amazon Lex. Okay, let me give you a perspective of some of them. Like not all of them, it's not be possible, right? But if you join the session with InfosecTrain, there we will talk about each and every one of it. But into a webinar, we just have a little bit of an overview of some of the services which are already present there. Keep in mind, we are using a services which is built upon some OpenAI or ChatGPT in the end, right? These applications are eventually built over that LLM models eventually. Fine, because the AWS has spent almost, I would say, it's $1 billion contract it has given up to the respective OpenAI, the ChatGPT. So eventually, whenever I use these services, eventually I am using up the ChatGPT only in the backend, correct? Okay, fine. So here we have this. I will be starting with something which is very famous one up as well, which is called Amazon Recognition. This service, guys, it recognizes things, guys. Okay, that's what we have into this respective thing called recognition. Yes, identifying thing. Correct. Okay. If let's suppose, for example, there it has an option where if I give my image and the image of Donald Trump and ask this AI model identify out of the following after these two images who is Donald Trump, he will be able to do that, right? Okay, perfect. Let me show it to you. This respective thing called recognition, which recognizes, identifies things. And when we say identify things, it identifies the images, right? What is shown into the image, it identifies face, and it is also something which can be used up, right, to filter the content. Let's suppose, for example, if you are building up the applications for kids, especially if you're building up an application for an adult, okay, fine, very less filtering you have to be concerned into it, right? Okay, because many of the content is suits good for the adults, right? But if you're building it up for the kids, especially suppose you're building up an application especially for the kids which are less than 10 years old, you have to be very cautious about what is the content that is getting displayed over the right? Okay, and if it, let's suppose for example, if any kind of you know uh, violent or blood is there up as well, I wanted to blur it out. I want that segment or the image or the entire screen to blur it out so that the kid does not get traumatized by that respective experience. Okay, you can use a recognition for that. Recognition automatically recognizes that kind of things, right? Any kind of a violent act or blood or violence, and automatically it can blur it out up as well, right? So the kid would not be able to see anything in the respective screen. Okay, fine. That's the thing. So let me show it to you, this respective service called the recognition into the context of the AWS. Just a minute, guys. Let me log into my AWS account. Just a minute. Okay, this is, guys, the actual AWS account. This is how it really looks like. Fine. So one more thing is that, guys, for this respective certificate we have, which is called the AWS Certified AI Practitioner. Okay, fine, Austin. Perfect. Okay. Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Varav. Okay, thanks, Priyanka. So let's suppose, for example, if you want to just master that certificate called AWS AI Practitioner, you have to be a little bit comfortable. I'm now not saying that you need to be an expert into it. That's a different segment. But you need to have a little bit of a basic general idea about this uh, AWS platform, right? It's a cloud eventually. Okay, we are using someone else's infrastructure to do the stuff, right? I don't own anything. I will rent things here. I will rent the infrastructure. I will rent the hardware. Okay, so there is a service up as well into it, which is called by the name of Amazon Recognition. Okay, so just a minute, guys. It's not coming up. Just hold on. Okay. Yeah, here it is now. Okay, so it's called Amazon Recognition, right? I just go to search bar and I click into the recognition part. Here it is. Let me click into it. It just does the search and the analysis. Okay, here it is, right? So deep learning based visual analytics service, search, verify, organize billions of data up as well, right? So eventually it's using up some kind of an LLM models into the backend. And here by itself in this respective case, guys, if you look into it, uh, this recognition model is specialized in identifying the text, okay, identifying the image, and all this kind of stuff. Okay, let's see that how it really works in this case. So here by itself, I just go it up into it and I click into for the demo part. I'm not uploading an actual image. Here we have, let's suppose, for example, a sample image. I have uploaded that, and if you look into it, the moment this image is uploaded, sample image, what actually happens up, the AWS automatically scans it and come to the conclusion that this is the stat of this image, that it's a neighborhood. It says, okay, I'm 99.99% sure, right? City, that it is a photo of a city, yes. And it's there are roads, there are streets, urban, there is a person, fine. And if you look into it, there's a respective car, there's transportation, okay, there's a clothing, footwear. So it's kind of analyzing license plate is there as well. So it's kind of an analyzing every component into the respective image and showing it as to us, right? That's the thing. Okay. So this is the one option we have here called the detection. Whatever is getting showed up into the image, even a tree, the car, the plate, the buildings, road, the person with a skateboard jumping it up, everything, it will break it down and show it up just right onto the screen. Okay, everything. Okay. Then we have image properties. Here in this respective part, in the segment of image properties, now if you upload an image, now what's going to happen up in that respective cases, it's going to analyze your respective image, right? And in that respective case, it's going to look for the respective colors up here by itself, right? It's going to look into it and find out, give you the color context, right? Okay. Then we have image moderation. I was talking it to you. Fine. So it automatically looks into the image and says that, okay, uh, this image looks very inappropriate, and it's going to blur it out. Fine. That's the thing. So you can enhance the accuracy of the prediction with the human review using up the this A2I. Fine. So this is how it is used up. Image moderation, which automatically identify the image and finds out that whether this particular image is suitable for the respective kids or not, right? And this is called facial analysis, where you upload. These are all the sample images which is already pre-existing. So if you have an AWS account, you go to the service of the recognition and you will see everyone up as well. Now here what we have is we have something which is called the facial analysis. Now here I just upload a particular image, it analyzes the face of this lady, and here it says look like face, 99%, appears to be female, age from 24 to 30, smiling, appears to be happy, wearing glasses, yes. And you can upload your own image as well if you want to do the analysis. Okay. Facial comparison. This was I was talking about, right? So you upload two particular images and it kind of identifies up that, is there a match or not. Okay, fine. I give this respective thing. On one hand, the reference images of the Jeff Bezos, there's another guy up as well, and here it says there's no match. That's what we have. So to the facial comparison and face liveness up as well, celebrity recognition, text into the respective image. If you have an image, you want to extract the text from it, you upload that, it automatically scoop out the text from it, right? Those kind of things. So a lot of things are there up as well, this respective things. It's called recognition. It recognizes the respective image or the video and give you the respective text or the results, whatever you want. Now, what I have seen it up, okay, in an actual project, the city police was using this recognition to recognize the respective number plates. Okay, let's suppose for example there is a CCTV camera in your respective nearby uh, road, right, or the highway, and that is definitely for sure continuously looking into the respective vehicle, which and especially targeting those which are overspeeding. Okay, now it's what it's going to do, it's going to capture the respective text or that your number plate, and that is going to be sent to the recognition, and here by itself we have text into the image. We will scoop out the text from it and then check it up into the database, that where which particular person name this vehicle is registered up, and then automatically the bill will be created for that respective guy, right? That's what we have. Okay, so this is what we have into it, correct? So you can integrate it. There are a lot of use cases for that, but in short, this automatically helps you in identifying the images up as well, what's going on to the respective image. Okay, this is called the Amazon recognition. Fine. And there's a custom moderation, something new coming up as well. Fine. Now, if you look into it, there is another one we have, which is called by the name of, after your Amazon recognition, which recognizes the stuff, there is something which is called the transcribe, which will something like transcribe here. right? Where if you look in the cursor, there is something which is called the transcribe, and what it does is that it converts your respective speech to the text. So whatever you speak, it will be converting that into the text up as well, right? So let me show it to you, this respective thing as well, called by the name of the transcribe. Transcribe, powerful speech recognition. Okay. Here it is called Amazon transcribe up as well in this respective case. What's going on? In the respective transcribe, you speak anything and automatically it will be writing it up as well. This is something, a facility which I have seen it up in lots of services or lots of softwares nowadays. You have a software, you open it up, you start saying something, and automatically, it's recognizes what you're saying, right, in which particular language, and would be showing it up, you know in the form of text, right? That's what we have into it, which is called Amazon transcribe, right? Okay, perfect. Here it is. Amazon Transcribe provide high quality and affordable speech to text transcription for a wide range of respective use case. Okay, so there are a lot of use case for it, but we are going to stick with one. I'm going to give you a simple thing up as well. Create a transcribe. Okay. Now in the language US English, I'm going to say something, and whatever I say it up over my respective microphone, it's going to be, you will see that it's all automatically going to detect that. And what's going to happen up in this respective case is that it's going to, you know uh, automatically write it down up as well. Fine. That's what we have into this respective thing called the transcribe. Fine. Okay. So, and another thing we have here, which we'll talk about in a minute, which is called by the name of uh, PHI or PII. What is a PII, guys? Aware about it? What is PII? Personal identifiable information, or personal identifiable information. Any idea about that, guys? What is PII? PII, which stands for personal identifiable information. What that means, Amit? It means any information, guys, through which someone can track you down, right, or get your personal information, right, or get to know more about you. Fine. Okay. Or then he can go ahead up and misuse his power. Let me give you an example. Let's suppose, for example, yes, Sandeep, correct. Okay, perfect. So let's suppose uh, someone comes to my house, and over my study table or over my table there is let's suppose my pen card. You should be aware, you are aware about it. It's something like a card we have, which is specially used up particularly in India for tax related activities. If you want to submit your tax, right, or take any kind of a loan, okay, you need to have the pen card for that. Without any kind of a financial transactions or loans or EMIs, anything which you want, that credit, anything you want, that is not going to be possible, right? So you need that. Somehow someone gets my pen number up as well, and through that he will be getting all the financial information about me. How much credit I have taken, right? How much is pending? What is the salary status? Is there any kind of EMI is going on, any these kind of things, right? And I don't want to disclose that. Okay, that kind of things. So that's called personal identifiable information, name, address, like, because in your PAN card you have the other things as well. So someone can contact to my respective bank, use that PAN number, and extract even more information, even extract any kind of cash or something like that as well. So that's the thing. So any sensitive piece of information through which the person can literally get, find your identification. Okay, like your home address and your PAN card, Aadhaar card, your social security number, anything which through which he can identify you. Fine. Okay. Now here it is. So we'll talk about that in a moment. Here only in the transcribe. Now let me say something. I start the streaming. Uh, Allow this time. Hello, my name is Amit. Welcome to the session. My phone number is 838822334489. My credit card number is 78383829. I live in India. And this is all what we have for the session of the AWS transcribe. Perfect. So whatever I mentioned up, guys, you see up in this respective case, it automatically detects that whatever I was saying, right? And it's kind of in this respective case just shows that over the screen. Again, keep in mind it's not free. I will be charged for that, right? Separately. We have the billing part. So at the end of the month, I will be charged for this, right? So that's what we have. Okay. So whatever I mentioned up, pretty accurately you can say it. Uh, you can look into it. It identified and mention up as well. But here is a very interesting thing. My phone number and the credit card information, it's mentioned up here itself. Even if it was random, but you see up, this is personal information because there could be multiple Amit, right? Thousands of them in India, but an Amit with a specific credit card or with a specific phone number only exists one, right? So you can track me down up as well, and that's not what we want. Okay. So I want to do what is that I want to perform something which is called a data masking. I'm going to hide my respective data so that it's not visible to you. Correct? That is what we have, guys, into this thing which is called by the name of the data masking. So Amit, what is actually going on? How is this data masking is, right? Let me show it to you. Because right now over the screen you can see the credit card, the phone number, and all this kind of stuff, right? Okay. So here by itself in this respective case, I go ahead up and I click, I will start new streaming where I will mention the same kind of a thing, the name, session, everything up as well. My name is Amit. Welcome to this session. And in this session, we are talking about all AI services. I live in India. Okay. Sorry guys, just a minute. I have not enabled the PI part. Let me enable that. Okay. So how do you enable it up, right? I scroll down and here by itself there is an option of content removal. Like I need to enable that first of all, right? I click into it. There is an option of PI identification and redaction, right? So PI identification means that it will identify that okay, Amit has spoken some sort of username or some sort of password, credit card number, debit card number, that kind of thing he has mentioned up. But when it comes to the redaction means literally making it invisible, right, or hiding that respective data. Okay, that's thing. So I want the identification and the redaction means hiding it up. Fine. So identification and redaction, what kind of things like bank account number, credit card, banking routing, debit card expiry, PIN, any of the things I mention up, any one of them, automatically the AWS is going to blur it out, right? And you will not be able to see that. Okay. If let's suppose, for example, you uh, want to make sure that the name is, I'm okay that if Amit says he's Amit, that should be visible, but other things it should be there. Okay, that's the thing. But let me put that. So you can customize it, you can change it. Let me keep it everything as it is. Now let me go ahead up and start the new streaming. Hello, this is Amit. Welcome to the session. In this session, we are talking about all kind of AI services, and I live in India, and my credit card number is 783389. My debit card number is 4484389. Right? The C, and this is all it is. Thank you. Okay, perfect. So pretty accurately, fine. It is able to guess it up. So here you see that the name, the address, the credit card, the debit card, right? Even if I say the phone number as well, it will automatically this line which is underlining it up that it means it identified what your PII, and then it masked it. It is now hidden. Okay, that's what we have in this respective case. So you have to enable that. It's not there by default, and keep in mind the number of time I keep on running this respective this poly. Okay, the start streaming part, bottom you're seeing it up, I will be charged. Not much, but yeah, that depends upon how much data I am ingesting into it and how for how long. Okay, fine. So I hope guys this is very clear to you with a service called transcribe, which converts text into the respective speech. Is it fine, guys? Is it clear? This respective service, transcribe text to the speech. Guys, please, I want a confirmation. If there's a doubt, I want to know at that as well. I'm looking into the screen. Okay, Priyanka, thanks. Koshi, Gaurav, Austin, Michelle, fine. Perfect, guys, right? Okay, so I hope you got up an idea into it that what is actually going on with the respective thing which is called by the name of a transcribe. Fine. Okay, thanks, Anuja. So this is what we have. Fine. Okay. So lot of other things you can do inside it, guys. Plenty of them. I have just shown you a glimpse, a very short glimpse of what we can achieve in the Amazon transcribe. Fine. Okay. So okay, guys. Before I proceed further with any other service we have into the AWS, what I'm going to do is I'm pasting up my respective LinkedIn profile, guys, into the chat, right? So if you want to connect with me, fine, or uh, want to be aware about any kind of an upcoming program from my side about the AWS cloud security in any of the domain AWS, Azure, GCP. So this is where you can follow me up as well. Okay, and this is the thing. Fine. So this is what we have, guys, into the transcribe. Okay, let's go ahead and let's go to the respective another services that we have. Then we have, guys, something which is called by the name of Poly, right? What does a Poly does? It converts your respective text into the respective speech. That's what we have into the respective Poly part, right? Turns the text into the respective speech. So let's click into the Poly part. Here we have. Okay. So here it is. Let's suppose, for example, I click into the test this option, test the Poly. Fine. So here is it is asking about the language, the voice, in which particular voice you want to get it up. Okay. So that kind of piece of information we have in this respective case, right? That's what we have into this respective part. So let me mention up the respective text here by itself. Okay. Let's suppose it's Stephanie. I can read a text up as well. And the voice is going to be a female. Let's listen it out. So whatever you write, it will be saying it up in short. It's the opposite of the previous one. So let's listen. Perfect, right? So any kind of text, whatever it's a long paragraph, anything up as well, you just write it down and click into the listen, and in the voice that you have selected, right? A lot of variations, a lot of different variations of male, females, you will be getting into it. You select that, and you will be getting, you will can easily listen it up. Okay, so it's exactly the same which happens up in your respective guys, something which is called by the name of audiobooks, right? Like we have Audible from the Amazon. Okay, so when you have this audibles up as well, what actually happens up in that respective case? What is going on into it? What do you say into the audible part? Same thing, right? There is a text and someone is kind of reading it up as well. Okay, similar kind of thing we have here in the Amazon Poly. We just give it up a text, we give it up a kind of in which context we want to listen it up, and here we have. Fine, that's the thing. Okay, perfect. That's called by the name of an Amazon Poly. Fine, everyone. Simple, straightforward, right? You write the text, click into the listen, and it's just narrates it for you. Okay. But again, keep in mind, guys, it's not free of cost, right? It's chargeable, so you will be charged for this. Okay. Fine. So, any doubt, any question, guys, still here? Anyone? I hope it's very crystal clear to you. The service called the Amazon Poly. Okay, perfect. Now, after the Poly, guys, there is another one we have, which is called Translate. And the translate is very similar to your respective Google Translator, right? So what is the respective service we have, guys, called by the name of a Google Translator? Anyone? What is the service does, the Google Translator? Any idea, guys? What does the Google Translator does? I hope everyone has used that at some point in time. Perfect. Exactly. Right. It takes the text, okay, and translate into the language what you need it. Exactly similar kind of a concept we have into this as well, in called by the name of an Amazon Translate. In your respective Amazon Translate, what you have is that you have your text in which format you want it, you write it down, and it will be visible to you, right? Okay. So I would say the source, let's suppose, for example, it's auto, it automatically detect that, and which language you want to, let's suppose, translate. Let's say, for example, I would say here, let's click it French, let's say, okay. And let's suppose I would say that my name is Amit. Hello, how are you? Right, okay. So it's automatically in live, you can say, in real time, converts the respective text. It understands it in which language it is, and it converts into the respective language which you have selected, and it is there up as well. Fine, that's the thing. And this output, you can display that out of any kind of an application. So these kind of an ML models which I'm showing it to you, right now I'm showing it to you in an isolation. But what you can do is that you can integrate within API calls, right, and the SDKs with the respective applications as well into the background, right? That's the benefit we have in this case. Okay, fine. So like whatever the output comes, so let's suppose a person is there, he opens up the application, he writes, my name is Amit and how are you, in English, and automatically it goes, the request goes to the translate converts into the French, and then that's what he gets displayed into the application. Fine, that's the thing. So this service guys called by the name of a translate. Similar to it, guys, we have the Lex, Connect, SageMaker, a plenty of services we have into the AWS, right? Okay. So a lot of services we have. We have just talked about few of them today into the session, but there are plenty of others as well. Fine. So let's proceed further. Now we have, guys, something which is called prompt engineering and its respective use case. What is this prompt engineering is all about, guys? Go ahead up, guys. Mention up into the chat. What do you see? What actually happens in the prompt engineering? Okay. Give exact concise prompt, create different prompt for yourself. But man, like my exact question is like, then what is actually a prompt is? Okay. What actually happens up in the prompt engineering? And what, how would you like, okay, perfect, guys. How would you like to define then a prompt? Okay. Very good, Austin. Correct. Used to describe the task to the machine. Very good, Priyanka. Sorry, very good, Priya. Right. So in this respective case, we have this thing which is called prompt engineering, which talks about writing the prompt as you had mentioned up. And what is the prompt is? It's the instructions that you define to the respective machine. Okay, correct. So how precise and to the point your instructions is to the respective ML models or to the chat GPT or this AI models up as well. That's very, very important. Correct. That's what we have into this thing which is called the prompt engineering. Okay, fine. So how precise, the better the precise is, the better the result is going to be. Fine. That's what we have into the respective thing which is called the prompt engineering, right? So like let's suppose for example in the context of the AWS, what we have is there are in the AWS, what you can do is you can create multiple servers. I can go to my AWS account and say to it that okay, scan the entire account and tell me how many servers are running up. So it will scan all the servers and give me a report of the status of the servers with just a prompt. Normally, traditionally, what actually happens up is if my manager calls me up right now, right at 9:40 and says, Amit, how many servers are actually running it up of InfosecTrain in the your into the AWS? I don't have any visibility. I don't know. I lost the count, right? So I just, what I do is normally in normal circumstances, I will be going it up and literally I will be counting one by one. I will be, there are different concepts up as well, but in short, you just think that I will log into the account and then I will be going and counting it up manually one by one. Okay, fine. And then I will be writing the report and sending a mail to my manager saying it up that sir, 10 servers are running. That can take at least 5 to 10 minutes to do that entire analysis of how many servers are running right into my entire infosec train. Okay, but let's suppose I have a prompt. Now, in this case, there's a service called Amazon Q into the AWS, where you write this statement. You see that into this image, the Amit here writes, why cannot I access into my instance, or how many servers I have total collectively. I hit enter. I go for let's suppose to grab a cup of water, right? Come out after a minute, and I get the entire list of how many servers are deployed, in which location, and what is their current status, how many are working and how many are not. And then I just need to easily take it, paste it up, attach it to the email, and send it to my manager, and that entire thing takes it just 2 to 3 minutes. That's it. So it makes my life a lot easier, right? Instead of manually going to the entire account and searching it for the respective server and then sending it to the mail, what I do, I just run a quick scan. I give the instruction. Sorry, I give the instruction. It's run this quick scan over my account and give me a respective result. It's similar to very important, like let's suppose you have a file, right? A very, very important file into your Google Drive, and you forget the file that where the file is was present. Now, what you did is that you start looking into each and every folder and every here and there to look for that particular file. But now, let's suppose, for example, tomorrow, I think, yeah, already the this Gemini is integrated with your Google Drive. You go into it and say to the Gemini that, okay, Gemini, please search my entire place and look for this respective files up as well. So just go and quickly look and find out the respective pinpoint file and give it to you. Okay, that's the thing. Fine. Now there is something, guys, another service we have, which is kind of a big service called by the name of a Bedrock, right? I was thinking about to give this respective demo for the Bedrock as well into the session, but guys, we are running out of time. So in short, what we do into the Bedrock is Bedrock is a respective service which is there to use the existing models. So here what we do is we already have, you can see into the screen here by itself, different models from Amazon, Anthropic, Acer, right? Different places, different providers, vendors. We click into it and select the model. Like let's suppose I select Anthropic, right? Then which version of the Anthropic? 3.4, 3.5, 3.6, right? Mythos, anything of it. And I can use it, and then I can give it up a prompt, give it up a task, and I will be getting it up. So the Bedrock is used for existing models, right? Here you are not training anything. Training is very less done, but here is mostly you already have the models present. You select them and then give them the task of what you want at the end of the day. That's what we have into this thing, which is called by the name of a Bedrock, right? Okay. So already you have it up into your console. Then we have another, guys, something which is called a SageMaker. Okay, Amit, then how SageMaker is different from the Bedrock? In your respective SageMaker, guys, what's going to happen up is here you train the models from scratch. You take a model and you train it up from the scratch up as well. That's the major difference. In the Bedrock, you already have the pre-existing models, right? In SageMaker, you train the models from the scratch over the LLMs. Okay, that's the thing. So this is a major difference up between them. Okay, again, keep in mind they are not uh, free of cost. They are chargeable. So whenever you're playing with them, it's absolutely mandatory to take the cost into consideration. Fine. Otherwise, there is a high probability that you can end up with a huge bill, and we don't want that, right? That's the thing. Okay. So this is what we have here. Perfect. Now, guys, let's proceed further to certain kind of a Q&A. The question says, which statement best describe Amazon Bedrock? A service which used to train deep learning model from scratch? Nope. A fully managed service that provides access to the foundation models? Yes, that's what we talked about. Bedrock users already have the foundation model up as well from multiple providers up as well, and we use them to do our job, right? Okay. A service used only for imaging the video analysis, that was recognition. A tool used for deploying EC2 instance in the ML workload? Nope. So the correct answer, guys, is correctly the B. Very good. Now, guys, this is the another question up as well in this respective case, guys. Please go into it. So the question says, which feature of the Bedrock help you reduce the hallucination, and that's going to be your respective RAG. Okay. Retrieval augmented generation. Very good. Okay. Now, guys, that's the thing. Now let's move to the next question, guys. This is the next question, everyone. Please look into it. We have just talked about this respective concept, guys, today in very much of a detail. Everyone, please look into it. So here it's kind of detecting unauthorized individuals entering the restricted building. So definitely for sure the answer is going to be recognition. Fine. Very good. As we have talked about in our today's session. Okay. Guys, this is the next question, everyone. Please look into it. Here we want a real-time chatbot that supports multiple languages. Customers type in Hindi, Spanish, French, but support agents only understand the language up as well. Which service should be able to solve this respective problem? Okay. So, for example, so the correct answer, guys, in this case, as guys are rightly mentioning up, is a translate. It converts it up right into a desired language. Perfect. And guys, this is the next question, everyone. Please look into it. Perfect, exactly. So, right in this respective case, guys, the correct answer is going to be poly. Why? Because it's kind of a, here you can see, you're making a particular website and want to access it visibly impaired user converting the written text into the natural sounding. So, whatever is written up, that could be audible, right? That's the thing. So, the correct answer in this respective case is going to be the guys, the poly.